Chelsea 0, Southampton 0. Chelsea dropped points again against a team that is a good team and played a good game, but is still an opponent that we should be beating. We had plenty of chances, even scored a goal, which was then annoyingly incorrectly ruled offside. But we're just not capable of breaking teams down well enough at the moment. Teams playing well against us, of course, doesn't help the situation. And the injury list is getting longer and longer. To find out everything about the game as it happened, do make sure to watch all of this review. Hello there guys, and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for my review of the Chelsea 0, Southampton 0 game. And I'm going to be honest lads, I'm really annoyed today. I don't know, I'm a lot more annoyed than I was for the Leicester defeat or the Wolves defeat. I'm just deflated today. It's just pissing me off. Like, we've got so many injuries, and then I can't even be properly annoyed at, I don't know, Sarri for who he's picking, or, you know, the players, because they're just the players we have basically. So it's just really annoying me. I mean, of course, there's the review, there will be fan cams, there will be a vlog, all sorts of content surrounding the game. Of course, transfer news as well throughout the month. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea. And also, let's see whether we can hit 400 or more likes in this video. I would massively appreciate it. So, yeah, please do make sure to smash the like button down below. But, you know, getting into the game, the lineup was almost exactly what I predicted yesterday, except for one, to me, unexpected change, as, you know, it was obviously the 4-3-3, Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal, a back four of Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso as the two fullbacks, Antonio Rudiger and David Luiz as the two centre-backs, then a midfield three of Jorginho, N'Golo Kanté and Ross Barkley, you know, who came in instead of Mateo Kovacic. Hazard started on the left, Willian on the right, and Morata started down the middle. Kovacic, you know, I told you, he didn't start. Barkley started instead of him. Was surprisingly not in the squad at all. You know, as the bench consisted of, again, the four defenders of Zappacosta, Emerson, Ampado and Christensen, plus, you know, this time Fabregas and Loftus-Cheek both, you know, recovered from the injuries, but seemingly not enough to start the game, plus obviously Willy Caballero. You know, you'd have to presume that Kovacic is now also injured. I don't have any more information on it at this stage, but great if he's also injured, because I feel like we're kind of missing him the last few games. And the game, it's just annoying. Like, it was interesting the first 10 minutes, yeah? You know, they tried to press us, as, you know, at least while we didn't enter their half. Then we tried to, like, draw them out and play in and around them, which worked. But then the final pass at the decisive moment just didn't happen. Then we kind of eventually stopped passing it backwards to kind of draw them out. We stopped doing that. We just basically just crowded them in. They just were happy to sit back, just trying to make it really difficult for us. And obviously, as we know of recent games, we just struggle against teams that just put all of them in within, I don't know, 30, 35, 40 yards of their goal. We just struggle against that, especially when the opponent is playing with a 3-4-3, but obviously against us it's more of a 5 at the back formation. And we just struggle a lot with that. Like, it took us a while to get into the game. It wasn't much happening early on. I mean, there was this unbelievable pass by Hazard that only narrowly missed Willian, which would have put the Brazilian through on goal 1-on-1 basically. And then we did have our chances in the first half. Like, you know, we did, especially the Hazard one when, you know, Rudiger found really nicely just inside the box, and then he smacked it, went for power rather than precision and placement. But just smacked it against the keeper's head, you know, against his face, and that's why he saved it. Like, it's just annoying. Like, we also had other moments in that first half, you know, Morata with a header that was tricky to do much with because there wasn't much pace on it, and he probably doesn't have enough confidence to try and let it drop and go for it with his foot. Willian, you know, had this moment where he actually got into the box nicely and went for goal, which I can't criticise him for all that much, but Hazard was just in such a much better position, and, you know, Willian could have just passed it to him so easily. And well, Hazard, I'm not sure whether he would have scored because the crowd was still very crowded, and possibly his shot would have been blocked and deflected as well, just like Williams was. But I feel like the chance would have been bigger, and it's just those simple, tiny mistakes, the last pass, the final decision-making, that we just don't get right at the moment. Yes, the passing is sometimes too slow, and the movement, I think, is our biggest issue. But then we still have some very quick and very nice attacks. But again, just that last ball, that last, you know, or the finish even, you know, plenty of times it's just about letting us down. Of course, I mentioned the Hazard chance. What can you say? But then again, you have to say, shouldn't he score from, I don't know, 6-7 yards from goal? I don't know. But he got unlucky. He hit the keeper in the face, you know, to be honest. And then to make things even worse, Willian got injured just before half-time, making the injury list even longer, you know, again in the same area of the pitch within the forwards, which meant Loftus-Cheek came on for him, you know, and then that meant, you know, we couldn't take Barkley off, who had an awful first half, in my opinion. You know, I mean, it's just bloody frustrating. I mean, just over 5 minutes to go, I think it was, in the first half, Morata then had a decent chance. Actually, a nicely played chance when I just laid at him. But Barkley, you know, found him just inside the box. Morata went for the curler for the far corner. But his shot then got deflected and went just wide of the post. Like, even those deflections, we can't even manage to get in right now. It's just not happening. Like, that was the first half. And the first half I didn't even think was that bad. Like, it was frustrating, but it got better as the half went on. And I felt, all right, you know, just keep at it. Improve, you know, up the tempo of the passing a little bit. The opponent will tire out and we'll break them down eventually. But, You know, we just didn't. Going into the second half, it wasn't bad, but it just, that tiny bit, that tiny inch that we needed, that kind of little spark of brilliance, we just didn't get. We just couldn't break the deadlock down. It was just, like I said, you know, too many wrong decisions or just poorly executed ideas. Like, it's not like all of the ideas were horrible and all of the decisions were horrible. Sometimes they were just, you know, poorly executed. Like, in the second half, we also had our chances. Hazard had a decent shot like 15 minutes into the second half when he cut in from the right-hand side. And you know, went for goal towards the near post, but again, it was made for a fairly easy save. Not enough power on it, easy, you know, height for the keeper to save it. Just about not enough. And just past the hour mark, we really started to struggle with Southampton's press for some reason. Like, it was fine first half, then they stopped pressing for a while, and then we really struggled with it, especially Azpilicueta. I don't know, they really crowded him, they really picked him out to kind of, well, try to win the ball back high up the pitch. We struggled with that, then we couldn't even, well, we got out of our half at times, but not into the final third to create anything. Then we also, you know, had lack of movement, especially with the front three, maybe some fatigue in there as well, although, you know, Morata can't exactly be tired, but Hazard and Loftus-Cheek isn't fully fit, presumably, so it was just really, really tricky, especially as we also started to struggle more to recover the ball after losing it, which we did really well in the first half, I thought, but, you know, struggled to do that in the second half, and then obviously that makes it more difficult to create, you know, chance after chance after chance, or try to create chance after chance at least. Then with just under 20 minutes gone, Fabregas came on for Barkley. Not the substitution I'm sure Side would have liked to make, but the only, you know, midfielder we had remaining on the bench. He came on actually to make his 350th Premier League and his 500th you know, appearance in English football overall. You know, made that today, so fair play to him. And then only 2 minutes after he came on, he actually assisted Alvaro Morata in the 70th minute. And Morata scored, you know, actually with a decent enough finish, but he was ruled offside. But just like Giroud against Palace last week, you know, I'm pretty sure he was onside. I saw pictures, I saw a few replays. I'm pretty sure he was onside. And it was actually a decent finish. And, you know, exactly what Morata would have needed, exactly what we would have needed. Obviously, would have probably given us the 3 points. And it's just getting so annoying. Like, it's really started to annoy me, these things. Like, the amount of ridiculously tight offside decisions that go against us. Let alone the amount of times we had to woodwork. Like, if I see that goal that Man United scored last week to make it 4-0 or 4-1 at the time against Bournemouth, I think. That was so clearly offside, and of course, you know, the line doesn't see it against us. But it's even if it's like that, you know, even if they're onside, they call us offside. It's bloody frustrating. Like, obviously against Palace, we still won the game, but you know, Giroud scored 2 blinders. You know, we possibly could have won the game 3-0, which would have looked a lot better, would have made us feel a lot better. And now we even dropped points because of this decision. It's just pissing me off. We need VAR. Like, what is this? This can't keep happening. Like, of course we can say we could have scored some of our other chances, but at the end of the day, we scored a lawfully correct goal, and it didn't stand for a mistake by the linesman. So, and that's just annoying. Because for the rest of the game after that, you know, goal basically by Morata, I mean, we really tried to score, we really did, and had plenty of almost moments and half chances, even shots on target, but just nothing really, really dangerous. Like, Southampton just crowded it, and they also tried to hit us on the counter a few times, so we had to defend, which we actually did well for the majority, but we just didn't have that last bit that we needed today, and just couldn't break the deadlock. I mean, we even had a penalty shout in injury time when Alonso went down after push, but to be honest, that was nowhere near enough for me. You know, I mean, I would have taken it if we had been given a penalty, especially after, you know, not getting that goal, you know, the incorrectly ruled offside goal by Morata. But, you know, if it happened against us, if it was given against us, I would have been pretty upset. So, yeah, well, what can I say? It's just annoying. I mean, that was then full time at 0-0. You know, Kepa made, I don't know, 1 or 2 saves today. Didn't have to do much. His distribution was good. Azpilicueta struggled a bit in the second half. Wasn't awful. David Luiz was impeccable today. I thought he was incredible. So many good tackles. So many good passes as well. Pretty decent. A few silly fouls though. Alonso, he just can't cross the ball. Like, he had one moment where he actually went past the player really nicely, but he tried the same thing about 5 times and it never worked. He just cannot cross the ball. Like, Morata is a better cross off the ball than Alonso, but whenever Morata crossed the ball, no one actually, you know, subbed in for him basically in that striker role, and no one actually went into the box when Morata was out wide, which is again poor positioning, poor organisation. Just the players not really thinking. I feel like the movement is just not good enough. I don't know whether the players are tired. Obviously, we've had so many games. Obviously, other teams have as well. Yes, we've rotated a little bit, you know, too little arguably in the last few games, especially towards, you know, in the back. But I can't really criticise the movement of the defenders. It was more like the attacking players. Yes, Hazard can be tired, but Morata, Loftus-Cheek when he was on, you know, Ross Barkley, Fabregas, they can't exactly be that tired. Like, they barely play, most of them. So it's just lacking that. Jorginho, you know, his passing sometimes was not great, but then again, to me, that was, especially in the first half, a lack of Barkley's movement. Barkley just didn't do anything. He's just too slow in so many things, whether that's on the ball or off the ball. And then he just didn't move and make himself available. So Jorginho, instead of keeping the easy pass and building the play up, had to sometimes go for tricky passes that were way less likely to actually come off. And then obviously that didn't work. And then Barkley, when he had the ball, did the same thing, lost them. Kante was actually pretty good, but, you know, can't run the whole attack in midfield himself. Because, you know, Hazard just needs to play down the middle. I mean, obviously, I know he couldn't today because we presumably, again, Loftus-Cheek wasn't fit to start. But we just need him to play down the middle. He's just not in the game anywhere near enough on that wing. And if he is, way too deep. They just foul him and it does nothing. Like, they just foul him somewhere on the pitch, 40 yards from their goal, because that's where he has to be. You know, when he plays on the wing. And then what do we do with that free kick? If you play a striker and he gets fouled, at least we're within 20 yards of their goal and can actually do something from that free kick at least. But, like, this is useless. Like, we need to get players fit. We need to build our own hospital at the moment because it's a bloody piss take. We need to get players fit. You know, we need to play Hazard down the middle. Morata actually was good today, I thought. Like, okay, good is maybe an overstatement, but he wasn't bad. You know, he had a chance, scored, you know, actually scored with a decent enough finish, had a few chances that either got deflected or he was a little bit unlucky and got himself into good positions, was a bit lazy here or there, but actually moved really well, worked really hard. Yes, we all know he can't hold the ball up, especially with a man, you know, right behind him. He just can't control them without either getting a heavy touch or getting dispossessed straight away. We all know that he can't do that. But disregarding that he can't do that, you know, he was actually pretty decent. But, you know, the goal didn't stand. So what can we do? Of course, it's frustrating. I don't even know who to play against Forest now. We just don't have players up front. I mean, will Hudson-Odoi be fit? Hopefully. If not, what do we do? Will Moses play? Will Lucas Piazon play? I mean, Lucas Piazon has never been in the mention at all, like, in the conversation at all. So I don't really know what to do. I mean, there's so many things wrong with this team at the moment. I don't think it's a Sarri issue. I think the main issue is that we don't have time to train enough. That's, I think, the main issue to improve things drastically. That's, I think, the main issue. But then we always have different issues. Sometimes it's the movement. Sometimes it's the passing. Sometimes it's the pressing, which we recently don't do as much anyway. Probably to maybe contain energy. I don't know. But it's really frustrating. It's one thing always. Then the finishing is either unlucky or just poor. The decision making is either unlucky or just poor. It's just always one thing. We just, at the moment, we can't get it full on spot on right. Like, we're having to grind our results, and then when it's not our day, like with the offside decision today, we just don't get the result. And, you know, we need something to happen. So as much as, you know, I'm all right with signing Pulisic today, there's no point. You know, we need someone to help us now. You know, obviously, I'm pretty sure that we'll sign, you know, one or two players, maybe even more in January that will help us now. But we need something to happen here. It's not necessarily just a player thing. We need a fresh spark, in my opinion. We need a little bit of a fresh spark because players are getting tired, players are injured. We need something to happen. And to be honest, I'm a little bit annoyed today. Obviously, you could see that the setup of the review was a little bit different today. I was just too annoyed to just run through loads and loads of half chances with a few big ones in between. When I'm just annoyed, like, to be honest, I was just annoyed. I mean, to be honest, if you have any thoughts, of course, you know, leave it down in the comment section below. Did anyone impress you? What did you think of Morata? Did anyone disappoint you? Leave it all down in the comment section below. I don't have much more to say. I mean, like I said in the beginning, let's see whether we can hit 400 or more likes in this video. That would be massively appreciated. Don't forget to check out my social media, which is lawfully on both Instagram and Twitter. As you can see over here, and also the links to both of them are down in the description below. And of course, this is YouTube, so if you haven't already, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea. And also don't forget to hit the notification bell button and choose to be notified about all uploads so you don't miss any of our future videos. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and I'll see you next time.